No one lays down the law like Car and Key. This is the Law Report on SAFM.
And a very good evening to you from tonight's Law Report program. Well, as you know, once a month here on the Law Report, we run a legal clinic trying to answer a range of questions on a number of different topics. And tonight, it's once again time to open the lines for you to ask that particular legal question that doesn't quite fit into the other topics we discuss here on the Law Report. So tonight, we won't be taking questions on labour law or property law because those have their own specialised programs, but anything else basically. And I'm joined once again this evening by attorney Nicoline Skuman-Low. She's a director of Skuman Law Inc. Attorneys, Conveyancers and Notaries Public, as well as by attorney Arinda Trutter, and she's a junior associate at Skuman Law. Nicoline, Arinda, welcome back to the show.
Very happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
And I have to say, this is your last visit for a couple of months, Nicoline. You're off on maternity leave.
Yes.
All very exciting.
All very exciting with all the new challenges that lies ahead.
It can't be as bad as some of our questions, I'm sure, that we get here on the Law Report. Hopefully it'll be a bit easier. And Arinda, you'll be standing in for Nicoline while she's away.
Yes, facing the challenges by myself.
Well, good luck, and I'm sure it'll be fine. That's why you've been joining Nicoline for the last couple of sessions, just to see how it works. And hopefully it'll be a pleasure for you to do that.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Right, well, we have 2 emails to get through this evening, but in the meantime, if you'd like to call, it's 0892 10 2010, 0892 10 2010, and you can leave your name and number with my producer. We'll call you back. As I said, we only have 2 emails, so we'll be through those relatively quickly. Right, the first one is from Precious and says, I listen to your show. It really helps us understand legal things, and I need your help with the legal situation I'm in. I was a former student at UKZN doing a degree which I was not able to complete due to my financial situation. It was 2002 to 2004. It was in 2002. And in 2004, I tried to go back to register, but due to my outstanding fees, I could not do so. So since 2005 to now, 2016, I have not secured a job that will help me pay my debt. 2006, the varsity lawyers started contacting me. It's been a tiring road. Now, last week, they contacted me threatening me that they will blacklist me. What do I have to do in this situation? I want to pay the debt and go back to complete my degree because I only had 1 course to do. But now, due to a new curriculum, I don't know how many courses they will add in order for me to complete. What do I do? Right, Arinda, any help here for Precious?
Yes, the listener doesn't make it clear if summons has been issued against her. She only says that this is the debt in 2005 and that they've been trying to get it back from her. So if we assume that summons hasn't been issued and there is at the moment no judgment against her.
She does say that she was contacted by lawyers and saying that they will blacklist her. Yes. I mean, are they just a threat, do you think?
I think that at this point, I think that is just a threat. Well, because we don't know now if summons has been issued against her. So if we assume summons hasn't been issued, there is no judgment, then obviously this debt has prescribed in the 3 years after 2005. And if they call her again, she can say that the debt has prescribed and they can't enforce it now. But in the case where there is judgment against her now, and that is why the lawyers are saying that they are blacklisting her, she will have to apply for the judgment to be removed from her name. And that, unfortunately, will only happen if she does pay the full amount back.
So, Precious, if you're listening, maybe you can call in on 0892 10 2010 and just tell us if you are in receipt of a judgment or whether that was just a threat. Because, I mean, this whole thing happened in 2002.
Which is a long time
And so,
ago.
therefore, if she hasn't made any attempt to pay it by now, that would have prescribed by now.
Yeah, if she hasn't acknowledged debt, if she hasn't signed any acknowledgement of debt or said she would pay in writing, anything that can interrupt the prescription running. If that hasn't happened, then I think this debt has prescribed if there's no judgment against it.
Okay, so Precious, if you are listening, please do call us on 0892 10 2010 because we would like to give you a definitive answer, but at this stage we can't because we're not quite sure of that one point. Right. Then we got an email from Mark. He says, I'm being sued for maintenance by my ex, but I'm unable to find a job. I have written many letters and emails, and I've had emails from many companies stating that as a white man, I will not be considered. My question is, can I present these letters and emails as proof to the maintenance court to prove that I am trying, but I'm not being considered? I have a BCom degree, but I can only find a job in a small shop. Then he says, will the letters and stuff hold up in court? And then another email, he says that he's started working in the shop. He's paid 5,000 Rand a month, and he's also forced to rent a room with another person. Obviously, at this point, still unable to pay the maintenance.
Well, he doesn't say if it is child maintenance or if it's spousal maintenance, but at the end of the day, the principle for maintenance stays the same. The court will look at both parties' financial positions all the time. He will weigh up the one party's ability to pay versus the other party's, either the spouse or the child's needs, basic needs. And on that, the court will make a decision on how much you can pay. So the listener will have, or does have at this point, the opportunity to file a replying affidavit on the initial application from his ex-spouse. And in that affidavit, he can set out his whole financial position, and he can add all the evidence that he has that he doesn't have the money at the moment, and especially his last 3 months' bank statements, and all the letters that says he did try and find work otherwise, but this is the only work he can.
So that will actually help him, all those emails and letters.
Definitely help him. The magistrate will take that into consideration when he makes his decision at the end of the day. Because if we look at child maintenance especially, there we have to remember that the obligation is on both parents to maintain the child. It's not just on the one parent. So the court will look at both parties' ability and affordability to pay maintenance, and will make a decision that is fair. A court is never going to make a maintenance decision that is unfair or unenforceable, because what would be the point in that? So I would say you must definitely ensure that he gets these letters and everything in front of the court before the hearing takes place. And secondly, that he makes sure he's there on the day of the hearing.
Now, don't miss all of that, because
if he's not there, they can just take a judgment against him, and they won't know that he can't afford it. And then at the end of the day, he's going to sit with debt and warrants against him because of maintenance that he can't pay.
I was reading a story now over the weekend about a woman who's taken her husband. Actually, she applied for him to be bankrupt because he was hadn't paid maintenance for however many years. But the story was also a bit odd, because she had remarried. She was living a really good life. The children were all in private school. The husband had remarried, ex-husband had remarried. They had a family. He wasn't earning a fortune, but she was wanting half of all the private school, half of all really. But her new husband could quite easily have assisted her. But on one hand, she says she doesn't see why her new husband has to pay for the ex-husband's children, which you can understand that. But I didn't think that was right. And now the poor man's been bankrupted.
Especially if they are married in community of property, her new husband, then the court will look at both parties' income, because they are married in community of property.
I don't know how they're married, but the ex-husband's now bankrupt.
Yeah. They also trying this new law now to say that a defaulting dad or mom not paying maintenance can automatically be blacklisted.
Yes.
So it's very important to get these facts in front of the court before the judgment is made, in case you can't pay it afterwards.
So Mark, get all those papers together, get all your information together, and get that to the court before the hearing date.
Yes.
So that it's there before the hearing.
The magistrate still has the time to go through everything before the hearing date. And he will have an opportunity on the date as well to say what his position is.
Right. Well, Mark, I hope that helps you, but it does seem like there's a little bit of light at the end of that particular tunnel. Right. If you have any questions, 0892 10 20 10. Sipiwe in Bez Valley, good evening. Sipiwe? Hello, there you are. How can we help you?
Yes, I want to find out how do you go about compiling a copyright for a media related product? How can I protect my work in that space? How can I?
Okay. Firstly, I just need to say that copyright falls under the ambit of intellectual property law, which is a very specialized field of law, and very few attorneys actually specialize in the field. So I'm not one of them, and neither is Arinda, unfortunately. So I would recommend that of course we'll try and give you some direction in answering the question, but you'll have to approach someone who actually specializes in the field for all the details regarding what forms to complete, what are your processes. The rule of thumb is the following. If you have designed something, invented something is maybe a better description, then the way in which you'll protect your property is by registering a patent. if you've written something, let's say a song, you've composed some music, or you've written a poem or a book, then you will go about registering a copyright. Any graphics or signs or something like that is associated with something, for example, well-known cool drink brands will be trademarked. So there are 3 broad ways in which you can protect your intellectual property, and whether or not copyright is really the most suitable will depend on exactly what type of invention or aspect we are talking about.
So what have you done, Simpiwe?
Television program.
Sorry?
A television
A television program.
product. Yes.
A program or what? A whole story, television sort of story.
Yes,
Okay, so that would be copyright.
Yes, then of course the script can be copywritten. So the rule of thumb is always that whatever you put down on paper, you can copyright. Many people don't have money to go through the proper copywriting process. So the copyright sign, which is essentially the letter C with a circle around it, can easily be put onto your material. That is free. You can do that with any computer. And you can then date stamp it with your computer. So you can see when your script was created. So, of course, if anyone does try and copy it unlawfully, then even if you haven't formally registered, you could still go to court and prove that yours was created before this other person's, and you can protect yourself. Copyright is generally quite expensive because you have to apply for it per jurisdiction. So if you want to publish it in South Africa, you'll have to apply for a copyright here. If you want to take it overseas, every country that you take it to, you need to register your copyright. So I go back to my first comment. You need to go and speak to someone who specializes in this and who can tell you exactly what is the best, whether you can take the chance of not registering. I would be very reluctant to actually recommend that. Or you need to then approach an expert and look at all your options and take it from there.
Okay, no, thanks.
Okay,
Good
Simpiwe,
luck.
good luck with that.
A reasonable direction in that aspect.
Okay, well, thanks so much for getting through.
Bye.
Thanks. Good night to you. It is one of those, it's awkward because, I mean, as you say, you could take the chance, but then, you can't recommend that someone does that because it might just not be good enough.
Of course, and who knows, maybe a really big corporation piggybacks off of your idea or hijacks it, for lack of a better word. And then they've got all the money in the world to fight you, and you don't.
And your date stamp thing on the computer is then not going to be enough.
Well, if your money runs out and they keep on pulling you into court battles, then no, the date stamp isn't enough.
Yeah, so it's not worth taking the
You need
risk,
the
but
money
you must
to keep
understand that it
driving
is
it.
going to cost you. It's not a cheap thing to do, sadly.
It's not a cheap thing to do, but if your idea is worth it, look at it as investment that you make in your future.
Absolutely. Right, our next call, Abdul Karim in Durban. Good evening.
Hello, Karen. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Oh, not too bad. It's very cold here.
Yeah, it's been very cold in Cape Town. It's not too cold now, but it's been very cold.
Okay.
How can we help you?
I have a question on behalf of my son-in-law.
Okay.
He has a defamation of character in writing, but it happened quite a long time ago in 2013. He wants to know if he takes a lawyer now, can he put the charge?
Why did he leave it so long?
He didn't have the money
Oh, he didn't have the money to
from
take
an
it.
attorney.
Oh, to have an attorney, but it's 3 years ago now.
Yes.
Is it too late, Nicoline?
I would say, unfortunately, it's too late. If you haven't issued summons is the document that interrupts the prescription period from running. Then, unfortunately, if 3 years have lapsed, 2013 to 2016 is, of course, 3 years. But look at the exact date of the correspondence.
It was in June.
Maybe it's late
So
in the year.
when was it, Abdul Karim? When was it dated?
In June.
June. So you've missed it.
Unfortunately, you've just missed
just
it.
missed
Oh,
it.
such a pity.
But I
there's
didn't realize
obviously-
that defamation in writing prescribes.
Yes,
I thought
yes,
only money prescribed. Debt.
Any claim.
Any
that you
claim,
make.
okay,
Yes,
so that
any
would-
claim that you
all right.
have. So it could either be a claim based on a debt that hasn't been paid or on damages that you would be entitled to claim. Of course, there's a criminal element to defamation, also called crimen injuria. But unfortunately, given the rates of crime in South Africa, I've found that the police do not really focus on such charges too intensely. So could maybe try and see if the criminal route could give satisfaction, but it may not. Unfortunately.
Just
sorry
too late,
about that.
Abdul Karim. So
Thanks
sorry.
a lot for trying.
Thanks so much, but sorry about that. Just a little bit too late.
Good night, man.
Okay, good night to you. Just for other people listening, possibly, if something like this does happen and it is in writing and you've got the proof of the defamation, because sometimes it's, oh, well, he said that to me, and then there's no actual proof. If this is in writing, if this happens to somebody else, surely you could approach an attorney with the evidence, even if you don't have the money at the moment. They could possibly take it on a contingency basis.
Could potentially. Not many firms work on that basis.
But there's a possibility.
But they could at least make an arrangement with you to say, okay, it's going to cost X amount. So if you pay us such an amount per month, then we can do this. And then when you have enough money, then we'll do the next step.
But
and
at
the
least
next
you've
step.
started the
But at
process.
least you've then started the process before the 3-year period.
So it's a case of anything like that. Don't. I must be like a stuck record by saying don't leave it. If something happens, deal with it tomorrow. Don't wait until next month or next year or 3 years down the line, because then it's too late.
Especially something where you have the evidence
Absolutely.
in writing.
Yes.
You should jump on it.
Because normally defamation is, oh, well, so-and-so said something to me around the corner.
Exactly.
Who was there? Well, no one, just me and him. But he did say
hearsay.
it, then it's between, it's he said, she said sort of
Yes.
thing. You've got no real proof. This sounds like it was real proof.
I think the
Sadly.
other side of it is the human factor. The longer you wait to do something about something, the rustier you become. So you'll find that the details become hazier and hazier and hazier, which means by the time you actually see the inside of a court, which could be at least 3 or 4 years down the line from starting it anyway, you may find that certain things have gotten blurry. So any attorney will tell you, the first time you sit in that office, make notes, make that summary, write down exactly word for word what you recall happened, because by the time you actually get your day in court, it's a number of years later, and it's human nature. We may forget a few things.
Lots of good advice tonight. Right. If you have any questions, 0892 10 20 10. And our first email we dealt with tonight was from Precious. And Precious, if you are listening, please give us a call, 0892 10 20 10, because we would like to just finish our conversation about your story with your varsity fees. Right. Our next caller is Secho in Rustenburg. Good evening.
Good evening to all.
Hello. How can we help, Secho?
I've got a child who I came into a marriage with. Okay, I had my traditional wedding, but not my white wedding as yet. And I haven't changed my surname because of this child. I know the father will refuse for her to change her surname. How do I go about, having this child's surname changed? Because this guy is not even involved in the child's life.
What do you want to change it to your new husband's surname?
Yes.
Okay. Would he be adopting her then?
We will be adopting her legally. We've tried to get sole custody of the child, and the father refused. So I assume that he'll automatically refuse for her to take on my husband's surname.
Because am I right in thinking the husband, the father of the child basically would have to give up his parental rights? Is that correct?
Yes.
And if he doesn't want to give up,
And we were never married.
that doesn't matter anymore.
Yes, unfortunately, it doesn't matter if you were married or not. The father has rights, inherent rights in terms of the Children's Act. So he will, if you adopt the child, he will need to give up his parental rights, and he will need to say, yes, you can adopt the child. Unfortunately, if he doesn't, then there would be no way that you can adopt the child, unless there's other circumstances that is making the situation more preferable that your new husband adopts the child. But unless that happens, the father needs to give up his parental rights.
Does he see the child at all, Leseko?
Nothing.
Does
Nothing
he?
at all.
No money, no maintenance, no nothing.
Well, he pays maintenance. He was forced to pay maintenance, but he has never made arrangements to the child, never come to the child. So he's literally not involved in the child's life.
Yes,
That's not really, I don't think that, unfortunately, in this case, I don't think that really matters
No,
anymore.
it doesn't.
It used to, I think, might have mattered before, but not now.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't matter. That's very unfortunate and very sad. But
Yeah.
he still has his rights as a father. Maybe try and sit with him and try and sit at a table and talk to him about it and see how that goes.
Well, I was going to ask you, if he gives up his parental rights, he no longer would have to pay the maintenance.
Yes.
Leseko, maybe you can tell him that.
Which we don't have a problem with, and he wants to refuse to.
Sorry, no, I didn't get that. Your line broke up.
We approached it in that manner, where we don't want maintenance from him, nothing. He still refuses, but this is a person who's not even making effort to be in the child's life.
Okay. Yeah, so that you won't have to pay maintenance thing didn't work
It
either.
didn't work. He's just being spiteful, basically, at the end of the day.
No, he's not taking any notice, any
Yes.
interest in the child at all, by all
Yeah.
accounts. Leseko, it's one of those things you're possibly going to have to just sit down and have an adult conversation with him.
And hopefully he comes to the table.
Maybe for some family mediation, maybe a good idea to get an impartial person who directs the conversation and who sort of helps the parties find a middle ground and records that in writing, make it an agreement of court. Family-based mediation has been very successful in our country.
Where would Leseko find? She's in Rustenburg. Where would she find a family mediator?
I think phone the Law Society of the Northern Provinces. They should have a list of mediators. Alternatively, I can actually send you some information in the morning, Karen, then you can just pass it on. There's a Family Mediators Association in South Africa.
The FAMAC. Yes. Okay.
So one can also contact them directly.
Yeah, Leseko, if you've got on the internet, just have a look for FAMAC. It's FAMAC. And there's there'll be a whole list of family mediators there, and maybe one of them will be able to organize something for you guys to sit down and possibly get to the bottom of this whole story.
I'm going
Yeah,
to.
because the other thing that makes this so impossible is that we've stopped family stuff being outside the country because now we have to ask permission to travel with the child and not willing.
Yeah, I think your best bet is a family mediator at this point, Leseko. I think it might be your best bet. Good luck. Look up FAMAC on the internet. You'll have all the contact details there.
Thank you so
Thanks, Leseko. Bye-bye.
much.
Right, off to Phildrift now. Vincent, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, how can we help you, Vincent?
I was racially abused on 3 different occasions. On the first 2 occasions, I went to the Human Rights Committee, and the people were asked to apologize, which they did. It's now happened again. I am tired of apologies. Do I have grounds to sue the person?
Is it the same person every time, Vincent?
No, it's a different person.
Different person. Can he sue them?
Yeah, of course. Any event that causes damage, whether emotional or financial, you can approach court and claim an amount. It could be based on essentially the same criteria as defamation of character. Obviously, depending on the circumstances in which this very regrettable situation occurred. So I would definitely say seek the advice of an attorney and get the ball rolling. And I think if we learned anything from
Please
other
don't leave
listeners, please don't leave it. You could still, of course, approach the Human Rights Commission again, given that it's a different set of people at this stage, but they will not be able to do anything more than maybe solicit an apology, and that's clearly not what you're after at the moment.
No, I need this guy to learn a lesson. I've seen him do it twice before to other people.
Well, I don't know if you were listening earlier, Vincent, it's a case of don't leave it too long because then it will prescribe. So if it happened recently, make sure you get and speak to an attorney as soon as possible.
Yeah, it happened 2 weeks ago.
Well, you've got time, but don't leave it too much longer. The
Yes.
sooner to the event that you go and deal with it, the better.
So I should go to the Human Rights Commission as well as an attorney.
Well, that's a whole different outcome then, because the Human Rights Commission is possibly going to get you an apology again, or if you're looking for a financial payout, then you'd have to go to an attorney, because then it would become a civil case.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot.
Well, good luck, and Vincent, I'm so sorry this happens to you all the time. I hope this is the end of it now.
I'm going to make sure this is going to be the end of it.
Okay, well, good luck to you, and I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Vincent. Good night to you.
No.
Bye-bye. Yeah, so this, as you said, something like that would be a similar kind of case to defamation of character, and you'd be able to go to an attorney and take it to court.
It will definitely just not be a quick fix, but if this is constant, then maybe it's time to...
Horrible that he would have 3 separate incidents. I mean, it's not nice at all.
No, definitely not.
Right, off to Freyhead and Tokozo. Good evening.
Good evening, Karen.
Hello, how can we help you in Tokozo?
Karen, I want to ask something.
Okay.
Basically, I'm a law graduate. I've had my degree for almost 2 years now. But unfortunately, I haven't got a job yet. I'm not working anywhere.
Okay.
So I was wondering if those guys in studio can help me, get a job. But other than that, Karen, I also want to ask them to maybe coach the law every time they give us advice, right?
You want to quote which exact statute of the law you're referring to every time you give them advice?
For instance, if they're talking about maybe a criminal matter, can they maybe quote the relevant section of maybe a Criminal Procedure Act? And if they are talking about labor law, maybe quote the relevant section of Labor Relations Act.
And when Michael Bagram does the labour law, he's forever quoting sections of the law. So if you listen to Michael Bagram with labour law, he's always quoting sections.
I don't miss this program, Karen. I always listen to it.
Oh, do you listen? Okay, well then you must hear Michael. He's always giving out which part of the law he's talking about.
Yeah,
the labour law.
They only tell you what you can do. They don't tell you like which section. For instance, it's the Constitution. They can quote the section of the Constitution. If it's an act of Parliament, they can quote that act. Because every time we listen to the program, currently we write something down.
Okay, and Tokozo, the problem with doing something like that, though, it would take quite a lot of time. And we've got loads of... you see the whole list of people that still want to get onto the show this evening. And if we had to do that with every call, we wouldn't get through half the number of calls. And also, I hate to say this, but I don't think that the attorneys know all these things off by heart all the time. Do you?
No, we don't.
They don't.
Definitely not.
I think especially on a show like this one, where we are dealing with a range of different matters,
it's difficult.
Then it would literally mean that we will have to wheel in our legal libraries and have every statute that could potentially come up in conversation. Remember, this is completely unscripted. Maybe listeners are not aware of that. This is not scripted. This is not a scripted reality show. And we do receive the calls and we handle them as they come in. So we don't know what will be put on the table for us on any particular
so that's really
evening.
Not something
so
that
it's
we
not
could
very
do,
practical.
No.
But where we are able to, we always do quote. And we also try and make it as accessible as possible to listeners, that it doesn't become a law lecture, so that everyone, regardless of your background or your need, that you can tap in and get some really golden nuggets, some real golden nuggets.
So unfortunately did you say you have a law degree in Tokozo?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you're battling to find a job. And I don't think we can help you with that, unfortunately, because you don't do job offers, do you guys? No.
Unfortunately not. I think that's something we'll leave to the recruiters.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't help you with a job in Tokozo. I really do wish I could. And unfortunately, as I said, they're all brilliant, these attorneys that come and do the show with me, but they don't know everything off the tip of their tongue. They can't, if they have nowhere to go look for it.
No, Karen, don't get it twisted, Karen. I'm not saying they know everything.
No, but they can't quote every time they give an answer, which is what I'm saying.
Not every time they give an answer, but maybe, you talk about Michael Bedroom, something like that.
So if you talk about...
The guy comes to studio knowing that he's going to talk about labor-related matters. So he can quote the relevant maybe a statute, not the sections, but he can maybe tell you that what I'm talking about now is in Basic Conditions of Employment Act. You can then look for that section.
Okay, well, we as best we can, we do that. We do tell you where to find things, and oftentimes I send you things. I send the listeners all sorts of information if they're wanting after a particular show. I always say, I've got this information for you. If you would like, I'll email it to you, and I do that a lot. So if there's ever anything that you hear and I say, look, I've got this information, I'm more than happy to email it to you. Just drop me a mail to law@safm.co.za, and I will send you whatever relevant information came out of the show from that particular evening.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if you hear me say that, you're welcome to drop me a mail and I'll send all the information to you.
Okay. I think
all right.
that's only current. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ntokozo. Good luck. Thanks. Okay, bye-bye. Right. Kafilwe in Pretoria, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I just want to find out. In March this year, I called one of the insurance companies to give me the quotation for the life cover. Then that guy gave it to me, only to find that after some days that he went to credit bureau to check my profile. And then I called him and asked him, why have you gone to credit bureau in my name to check my profile? He says, no, according to insurance company, I have to do that. I said to him, what is the act that says you should go and check my name there? Because according to credit bureau, I should have given you the permission to do that. Then I spoke to one of his managers and then promised me that it is on the tapes. From March, I've been waiting for those tapes because I said I've never agreed that you should go and check my name from credit bureau. Now, where does the act of protecting customers' information comes in? Because they just go to credit bureau without your consent. Can I get an answer for that?
Okay, Arinda.
It normally works like that. You need to give your permission for a credit check to be done on your name. But companies or institutions like the bank and insurance, even us as lawyers, we have a little section in our mandates, the agreements you sign with us, that says you hereby accept that we can do a credit check on you. So it might have been in the forms that you filled in that you gave them express permission to do a credit check on you.
No, it was telephonically. Then they said they would send me the tapes. I just said, okay, send me the tapes to hear that I agree upon this.
So there were no documents?
No.
Okay.
It was over the phone.
Well, then I think this is something you can take to the insurance ombudsman. I don't know what type, or you said life insurance, my apologies. Then you can definitely refer it to the long-term insurance ombud. Very efficient structure. They are very user-friendly. So you can just Google the long-term insurance ombudsman, and they've got the forms online that you can fill in detailing your response. Or your complaint, and then they'll investigate it for you. You don't have to get an attorney.
And it's free.
So, and they make rulings that are actually binding on these companies. So most definitely a credit check is an invasion of personal information or of your privacy. So it's definitely it needs to happen by consent, either if you've signed something giving consent, or if you've specifically said it's okay for them. But it's general practice as Arinda said, in most of the banks and in the insurance industry, even in the legal industry, because it's important to ensure that the person can afford the premium that they'll be paying, and that's a national credit regulation. So although it's not a credit agreement, it's not a loan that you've taken, that's why they have this practice that is internally practiced. It's a risk aversion strategy from the company side, but they must still make you aware that they are going to do it and get your permission.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay, Kafilwe, good luck to you.
All right.
Thanks for the call. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Right, it's off to Cape Town now. Eddie, good evening.
Good evening, Karen. Thanks for a lot for the program.
Pleasure. How can we help, Eddie?
We really appreciate it. Look, my first thing is I'm a dad and I've got a pretty little 7-year-old. I got troubled by the call. I'm listening to the show and the other lady says the guy is supporting his child, but she wants to take the child away from him. And I mean, I'm a dad and I'm a single dad, so I got really worked up that a guy who wants to be involved in his child and so on. And so I don't know how we can give advice to that kind of a person to do that, Karen. I mean, I got worked out, but that's not my question. I'm digressing.
No, Eddie, hang on. Before you go to your question, let me just explain. I don't know whether you heard the full story. Is this lady has got this little child, and the father, they were never married. The father of the child was forced by the maintenance court to pay maintenance for the child, but he has refused to see the child. He wants nothing to do with the child and has never ever seen the child. And she's now got married, and her new husband wants to look after the child. And the father of the child doesn't want anything to do with the child, but he won't let the new husband look after it either. So that's why.
Look, I with all due respect, I agree with you, and I accept your explanation. But when I was listening to her, there's a lot that she's not telling you from what I'm hearing from her voice and the way she's explaining it. But that's a story for another day. I'm a single dad. I never married the mother of my daughter, and she's my angel. And I feel every dad should have the right to raise their daughters and sons, really. But
Eddie, you've phoned into the show before, and every time you phone into the show, you always make my heart very glad because you are the kind of single father that makes me very happy.
Thanks a lot.
We need more guys like you out there, Eddie.
Okay, thank you.
So, do you have a question for us now?
Yes, I have a question. Maybe I don't know whether the lady, this is her field. I've got a house and I'm trying to move out to a bigger place and rent my house out, but then I approached a designer to maybe put a granny flat on my house so that I can rent that as well. And all the designs were done and everything, and then we submitted to council. They dragged their feet and let us in until I had paid quite a sizable amount towards this. And then they turned around and said, because it's a detached kind of thing from the house, no. And I thought, but shouldn't they have said from the beginning, because we gave them the designs and everything, and they still wanted this and that, and went on for months, almost a year, and then now I just received some kind of no, that kind of thing. So I just wanted to check whether there is a way I can work around that, because I've already paid so much money towards that,
It's probably got something to do with the fact that it's a freestanding building on the same plot.
It could be. Usually it's quite good for to appoint someone like an architect or a professional to attend council to find out exactly what the issues with the structure are and whether there's something, maybe a minor amendment that could be made in order to get the plans approved. And similarly, it could also involve the neighbors that maybe doesn't want to give permission for the structure or something like that. So there could be a multitude of reasons. It could be a design issue or it could be a permission issue. So it's good to whoever's drawn up the plans, if they can maybe approach council and find out exactly why it's been rejected and see what one could do to rectify these issues so that you can have it approved.
Okay.
So it's a case of getting somebody to go in there and find out why they said no.
Exactly.
Because the guy who was designing basically said he works a lot with council and so on. But yeah, I think it's a good thing maybe to push harder. And
I don't think you must just take the fact that they said no. You need to go and find out why they said no. Because maybe there's something it's something quite simple and you can just fix it. You can just make a plan and sort it out.
Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Don't give up, Eddie.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Bye now. Bye-bye. Right, off to Uppington. Etienne, good evening.
Good evening. How are you guys doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you, ladies, for a lovely show.
Great. Thanks, Etienne. How can we help you?
The thing is as follows. I'm in the. I haven't had a proper job from this past years, and recently I started with a proper job whereby I'm busy solving my debt. And then early this year, I was contacted by a insurance company of whom did the handbacks of Nashua Mobile, of whom I had a cell phone account from. The cell phone account I had it was in 2010. So now what happened is they phoned me. They firstly sent me an SMS that shows that I need to pay a sum of 2,000 rand, and then I qualify for a discount. Because I'm in the process of trying to clear my name. I merely phoned them back, and they offered me a price of 1,000 something, 1,004. And then after that, after I paid it, then I thought to myself, let me phone Nashua Mobile and try to get hold of them and ask them exactly what is happening there. Because what happened with the phone is, I had a phone for about 6 months, I think more than 6 months it was. And then it got lost. I was robbed actually. So what happened is, I phoned Nashua Mobile and explained to them what happened. So they told me that the phone wasn't insured. But the first person that I talked to in the first place, when I did application for the phone, he said that the insurance was also included. And then when they checked through their books, like the people from Nashua Mobile, they saw that the dispute of myself and Nashua Mobile about the phone was on, and that it was unresolved. So then they said that I shouldn't have paid the amount for this corporation that's busy handing back the money. So when I phoned these people back, so I took the name of the people that's involved in this matter. And when I phoned them back, I told them exactly what is happening, and they told me that I must get a letter from Nashua Mobile to confirm this, that I've talked to them and this thing hasn't been it's been unresolved. Is there really nothing that I can do to claim my money back? Because this is most unfair. I didn't get what I was paying for, and then at the end of the day, when it was gone, I had to sit with the problem.
But I think where we're starting here, Etienne, is the fact that amount of money that they phoned you about had prescribed. And this sounds to me like a debt collector that was looking for the money. So I didn't want to tell you this, but you shouldn't have paid it. Because they couldn't have enforced it, but now you have paid it. What does he do now? And Nashua Mobile's are telling him he shouldn't have paid it. Yes. Can he get the money back from whoever took it?
I phoned Nashua Mobile back and informed them that I already paid the amount, and they said they will try to contact those people, the people of that's busy retrieving the money for Nashua Mobile, in their favor. They said that I must get a letter from them. Do I have power within myself to get the money back, or how do I go about it?
Did you get the letter?
Yes, debt collector.
Have you got the letter from Nashua Mobile?
Yes, I've got a letter. They sent me an email. I asked somebody to help me, and one of my friends who's a lawyer. He enforced, and he got a letter for me.
So you've got the letter saying that they must give your money back.
That's correct.
Okay, so what's his next move, Arinda?
Your next move would be to send the debt collector that letter, because they told you that if they get that, then they would pay you your money back. But at this point, that would be your only option, as far as I can see. Because unfortunately you did pay the money and it was owed, unfortunately. So I would say go ahead and try and send them the letter and see if you can get your money back.
But do I still have grounds standing on, since I've spoken to a couple of people from Nashua Mobile that states that I shouldn't have paid the money and this issue was unresolved? Do I have grounds on that?
Given the amount, let's just be quite frank, given the amount that we're talking about, you could always bring a case to force the refund, but it will likely cost you much, much more.
Can you take them to the small claims court?
Can go to the small claims court, and that's what I was about to suggest, to say if you are insistent to, if they are not going to refund it, and if you are insistent to take this forward, then I would say rather go to the small claims court. At least you don't have to pay any additional legal fees, because just the consultation and maybe one or two documents being drafted by an attorney will quickly exceed the amount that you've paid. So from a financial perspective, of course, if you've got the money to throw around and it's a principled matter, then don't let me deter you. But I'm always someone that says, you need to make sure look at the legal aspect and the principles involved, but also look at the monetary side of things. Go into it with open eyes, and if you're willing to spend much, much more than the money that you'll be claiming back, then fair enough.
So, Etienne, your first port of call is to send them the email.
Yes, correct. Okay.
Because they told you that if you got a letter, then they would give you the money back. So say, what? Here's the letter. So where's my money? That's the first thing. If you can't get that right, then you can take them to the small claims court, because you can take them there for anything up to a debt of 15,000 or an amount owing of 15,000, and yours isn't even close to that. So you can take that to the small claims court. It isn't going to cost you any money, and you don't need to get an attorney. You just go there yourself with your story, and you speak to the judge at the small claims court.
Okay, but still at the same time, they've got this recording that they do for each call, and they have said like, and I've got the times and the dates.
Oh, that's even better.
That I spoken to. Will that maybe help me?
Oh, absolutely, especially if they said that they'll give you the money back if you get a letter.
Yes.
Oh, okay then.
So actually, I ask them for that first.
For the recordings of the phone call.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that you've got all your evidence.
Oh, okay then.
Good luck. Etienne, please do let us know how this goes. I'm dying to know what happens. It's like a mystery story now. I want you to tell me what happened at the end of it.
No problem then.
Please let us know how this goes, because it'd be great if you got this right.
Okay, no problem. I will do that.
Thanks, Etienne. Have a good evening.
Same to you.
Bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This sounds to me almost like one of those cases that he could actually get it right. There's a lot of evidence backing him up here.
And if it's a debt collector, he mentioned insurance company, but I'm sure he meant debt collector. Then there's a council for debt collectors that you could also report these guys to. Not everyone is registered with it though. So, but it's worth a try. Why not?
Especially because they told him one amount, and then when he called, they gave
they
him a discount.
They gave 600 rand discount suddenly. Okay, well, we'll just have 1,400 rand instead of 2,000. Exactly. But if you get a letter, we'll give it back.
Hopefully,
it's not a mistake that they actually said that.
Hopefully, it's not some fraudster.
That sounds a bit.
It just makes it sound very, very suspicious.
It does sound a bit iffy, but well, as I said, hopefully he'll get back to us. It's one of those mystery stories. I'm dying to know the end of it. Right, off to Frere now. Meshach, good evening.
Yes, how are you?
Fine, and you?
Yes.
Oh, Meshach, hang on, Meshach, have you got your radio on in the background?
Yes.
Could you switch it off, please?
Okay. I'll switch it off right now.
Okay. Is it off now?
Okay.
That's much better. Right, okay, that's good. Now we can hear you. Okay.
Okay. I'm saying I've got the qualification matters like, I've got the grade A certificate of security.
Okay.
So if you have grade A of security certificate, is a management security certificate, B is a supervision, and then C is a gathering. So these companies which get tender from big companies do not hire people who do not hire qualified people with grade A. So I can't be able to get job in short because I've got grade A. And then they are managing unqualified and supervising unqualified there.
Are they allowed to do that?
Yeah, this is what they know. Big companies like Sosol, Transnet, they give security companies their job, you see. You get, and then security companies do not manage with qualified managers and supervisors. You'll find out that the manager of security has grade C security qualification, of which management is grade A. How can he or she manages with grade C, having of which the management is grade A?
It's probably Meshach, because it's cheaper for them.
Hello?
It's probably because it's cheaper for them.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm saying they probably do that because it's cheaper for them to do that. They pay them less money.
Yeah, but they pay them less money. But okay, security is for protection of the property, and police is for catching criminals. But there's much administration in police. You see, we've got the station commander, we've got the inspector, warrant. So even in security, we've got qualifications. So we can't get if we have grade A, they can't hire you. It's impossible. There are few people who are hired with grade A.
I don't know, Meshach, I don't think there's anything we can actually do to help you with this. It's really up to the people that are employing the security personnel. It's up to them to decide who they want to employ. They might be employing the wrong people by the sounds of it, but there's nothing I don't think it's illegal for them to do that, is it?
Well, as far as I know, but it is.
It's written even in court that are they qualified. So is it a law for them to supervise and manage unqualified?
Well, I know the security industry is a very specialized industry regulated by labor laws, for example, that do not fall under the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. It's a completely separate set of legislation. Even the labor relations is handled in a very specific way. So I would recommend that one actually looks at someone who has a qualification and deals with these matters on a regular basis. So whether there's an industry ombud, maybe that
there is an organization, I think it's called SAIDSA. It's SAIDSA, SAIDSA, who actually does deal with that. So
maybe lodge a complaint with them, get them to investigate the situation, because they would be the regulatory body that could potentially make changes.
Or even a union. You're not working at the moment, Meshach?
Yeah, I'm not working, but I realized what is the problem for me to not get a job where I qualify.
Okay, but
I can also even sign the contract for them and get uniform, but when I'm supposed to start working, signing the attendant register and so on, then they will say no, they got somebody else. So I realized others had also told me that they can't hire me because I will require much money. I said no, you can. If I've got grade A, in class I started in grade E, C. And then I also, if I've got grade A, I also have grade C because I studied grade C in the private school where I was studying the security qualification. So they don't want to hire me because they say I will say somebody who is managing unqualified, who was promoted. I will say must go and get that position.
Meshach, there's not really much we can actually help you with as far as that is concerned. Your best option is to go to the Security Industries Board. It's called SAIDSA, SAIDSA. And if you could possibly tell them what's going on, maybe they can help you with trying to sort this out. But unfortunately, it isn't an illegal practice for them to hire whoever they want to hire. But maybe next time Michael Bagram is on the show in a couple of weeks' time, maybe you would like to call because he does labor law and maybe he'd be able to help you. Because the part you said about you get there and you're ready to sign in and then they tell you they've given the job to somebody else, that's actually, they can't do that. They can't make you come in there, tell you you've got the job, and then at the last minute say you haven't got the job. That they can't do. So if that is what's happening to you, then maybe you should phone in when Michael Bagram is on talking labor law and he'll be able to help you some more with that. Okay. But
because a long time I signed the contract with the company which we called, maybe it's most seen here in South Africa. They called a Fidelity.
Okay, yes, the Fidelity,
so,
yes. Yeah,
but Fidelity, it was here in Standard On. After signing the contract, then we arranged that when must I start working, then they did not allow me to start working.
All right, Meshach, what I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna keep your number, and when we have the labor law program, we're gonna phone you then, okay? and we'll talk about it then. It's a couple of weeks' time. All right.
Okay.
Okay, Meshach. Thanks so much for getting through to us tonight. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye now. Well, my thanks once again this evening to Nicoline Skuman-Low. She's a director of Skuman Law Inc. Attorneys, Conveyancers and Notaries Public, practicing here in Cape Town, and Arinda Trutter, and she's a junior associate at Skuman Law, and they've been my guests on tonight's edition of the Law Report program. Now, next month, Arinda will be back with us again. That's on Monday, the 8th of August, on her own, Arinda. You're going to brave the waters by yourself.
By myself.
Because, Nicoline, I wish you all the best after you on maternity leave for a couple of months.
Thank you so much.
All the best, and we'll see you beaming as the new mother next time you come in.
Definitely. I'll see you in October.
Can't wait.
All goes well.
The Law Report, as you all know, is on the air on SAFM every Monday evening between 9 and 10. And in next week's program, I'll be joined in studio by criminal law attorney William Booth. And there's a lot to talk about. Well, that's the Law Report next Monday, the 18th of July. And I'll be back with you again tomorrow evening just after 9 with Health Matters. So join me for that. Stephen Kirk is up now with some nighttime music. Hello, Stephen.